It was a warm spring day. I was walking my dog in the woods. The bluebells were in full bloom. A carpet of blue covered the ground and the air was full of their scent. Mac, my black and white border collie, was getting old, but he still loved to run around and roll in the grass as he did as a puppy. We walked up one of the many side tracks. The path was surrounded by trees and the dappled light flickered through them. I watched as the light danced around as the cool breeze made the trees gently sway. I was caught up in the moment and not paying much attention when out of the corner of my eye I saw a figure sitting on a fallen tree. I moved closer to get a better look. It was a woman with blonde hair and pretty smiling eyes. She didn't see me, but she did see Mac. He rushed up for one of his favourite things, being made a fuss of. The woman stroked him and spoke in a soft voice. To my amazement, Mac seemed to understand what she was saying. He nodded and made sympathetic sounds at her, and then she burst into tears. My heart went out to her. She seemed such a gentle, happy soul. It wasn't right for her to be in so much pain. I walked over to her and asked what was wrong. She sobbed, "They have taken my ears, my wonderful ears, and my fairy wings." I looked. No, her ears were there all right. I took a step back and thought perhaps I should phone the hospital as one of their inmates had escaped. So against my better judgment, I took hold of one of her tiny hands and tried to comfort her, or at least calm her down, and asked, "Who has done this to you?" "The Elf Council," she sobbed again. "No, your ears are there, and they are very nice ears." "No, no," she cried, "I'm human." "Well, of course you are," I replied now. I was very perplexed. I stood there for a while, scratching my head, trying to figure out how I could help this woman, when suddenly she said, "I was a tooth elf, but I broke the law, and now I'm cast out and lost my beautiful ears and made to live life as a human." Again she began to weep uncontrollably. "Please don't cry. I can't stand to see people cry. I don't know how to deal with it, and besides, aren't they tooth fairies?" I inquired, thinking I had caught her out. "No, in the 80s they combined the tooth fairies and the shoemaker elves to save money and paperwork, so I became a tooth elf." She turned and looked at me. "You don't believe me, do you?" She then started thumbing in her little bag she wore around her waist, pulling out bits and pieces. And then she exclaimed, "Of course I can't show you the letter. Elf letters can only be read once, so mortals can't read them. Look, it's very clear to me that you are very upset. I don't want to appear too forward, but why don't you come back to my cottage for a cup of tea and some cakes or something?" I nearly said fairy cakes, but thought better of it. "If you don't trust me, ask Mac. He will tell you I'm not a bad sort." She whispered in Mac's ear and he barked at her, which was surprising because Mac didn't bark often. So she agreed and said, "My name is Carol." "Nice to meet you. My name is—" I started to say. "I know, Paul. Mac told me." The two of us and Mac set off down the track towards home. It wasn't long before I was holding the gate open for Carol. The fairy, as I had now accepted her to be, stood there in amazement, eyes wide open. "Is this all yours?" she exclaimed. "Yes," I said. "It's so big, like a palace," Carol said excitedly. "No, it's just a little cottage, mine and Max. We love it here." "So where do you live, Carol?" As I asked the question, the tears rolled down her face. "Under a toadstool in the woods, but now I'm too big, and I've lost my lovely home and all my belongings." "Oh, please don't cry. Come in and have some tea," I said. "Can I really?" she asked.